Like probably, people have boundaries and where they want to take it and where they want to go with it. And I think, it's just about respecting those boundaries. And I think by 30 years old, you kind of have to know who you are.
On June 13th, 2021, the world watched in disbelief. Britney Spears, one of the most iconic pop stars of her generation, finally spoke her truth. For years, she had been performing, smiling, and captivating millions. But behind the glitter and sequins was a story few knew. Britney had spent over a decade trapped under a conservatorship that controlled nearly every aspect of her life, from finances to personal choices. For fans, it was shocking. For Britney, it was suffocating. This is not just a story of fame or scandal. It's a story of control, resilience, and the breaking point of a young woman whose voice had been silenced for far too long. It's about how the pressures of stardom can transform adoration into captivity, and how one star finally dared to reclaim her life. The rise of a princess. Britney Jean Spears was born in 1981 in Mississippi, a small-town girl with big dreams. By the time she was a teenager, her talent was undeniable. Her voice, charisma, and energy set her apart. In 1998, her debut single, Baby One More Time, catapulted her into global superstardom. Overnight, she became a pop culture phenomenon. Concerts sold out, awards piled up, magazines covered every aspect of her life. But behind the dazzling image, a young woman was struggling to navigate pressures that most adults could barely comprehend. Fame was intoxicating, but it also brought scrutiny, intrusion, and relentless expectations. Britney's childhood ended on stage under the world's gaze, and the intense spotlight would follow her every step, shaping both her career and her personal life in ways few could survive unscathed. Control and conservatorship. By 2008, Britney's life had taken a dramatic turn. After a series of personal struggles, she was placed under a conservatorship controlled primarily by her father. What initially may have seemed protective became increasingly restrictive. Britney was denied basic freedoms. She couldn't make her own medical decisions, manage her finances, or even choose her own personal relationships without approval. The world saw the headlines: erratic behavior, paparazzi frenzy, public meltdowns, but few understood the reality behind the legal control. While her fans criticized her behavior, Britney endured a system designed to control and contain her. The conservatorship created a paradox. She was legally an adult, yet stripped of autonomy, performing to perfection on stage while her personal life remained tightly regulated. The pressure and breakdown. The pressures of fame, compounded with strict conservatorship rules, took a devastating toll. Britney's every move was monitored. Her finances, her relationships, even her medical care were scrutinized. The pop princess who once commanded the world's attention became trapped in a gilded cage. Public incidents, including shaving her head and confrontations with paparazzi, were seen as scandals, but in reality, they were cries for help. The young woman who had spent her life entertaining millions was being crushed under the weight of constant scrutiny and total control. Mental exhaustion, emotional strain, and isolation converged, pushing Britney closer to her breaking point. The hashtag Free Britney movement. Fans didn't stay silent. The hashtag Free Britney movement began gaining traction, shining light on the injustice of her conservatorship. Supporters demanded transparency, justice, and the right for Britney to reclaim her life. Social media became a platform for advocacy, connecting millions who empathized with her struggle. Her public statements, though limited, revealed pain, frustration, and longing for freedom. The movement wasn't just about celebrity gossip, it was a call to recognize the human cost of control. Britney became both the face of the pop world and a symbol of resistance against an oppressive legal and personal framework that sought to dictate every aspect of her existence. Reclaiming her voice. In the courtroom and through interviews, Britney began to speak more openly. She described the restrictions placed on her daily life, the emotional manipulation, and the years of losing autonomy. Her testimony in 2021 was both shocking and inspiring. For the first time in over a decade, Britney's voice was heard without filters or legal constraints. Fans and observers were moved by her courage. She demanded freedom not just for show business but for herself as a person. Her words highlighted the emotional toll of living under constant control and the courage it takes to finally push back, to reclaim one's identity, and to stand up against systems that suppress rather than protect. The impact of fame. Britney Spears' story illustrates a broader truth about stardom. Fame is often a double-edged sword. It brings wealth, admiration, and influence, but also relentless pressure, loss of privacy, and exploitation. Young stars, in particular, can be vulnerable to control, manipulation, and systemic abuse. Britney's life shows that the public persona, smiling, performing, achieving, can conceal profound suffering. While the world saw music, dancing, and charisma, behind the scenes, the weight of constant oversight and expectation could be crushing. Her struggle is a stark reminder that the glamorous image of pop fame often masks unseen battles that can break even the strongest individuals. Legacy and lessons. Britney Spears' journey is both tragic and empowering. She endured a decade of control, scrutiny, and emotional struggle, but ultimately reclaimed her freedom. Her story resonates far beyond celebrity culture. It is about autonomy, resilience, and the fight for personal dignity. Through her courage and public fight, Britney helped expose systemic issues in conservatorship and inspired millions to recognize the importance of consent, choice, and mental health. Her legacy is not just her music, but her bravery in breaking silence, reclaiming her voice, and challenging a system that tried to define her life. Britney Spears should be remembered as more than a pop icon. She is a symbol of resilience, a reminder that even under immense pressure, one can fight for freedom, identity, and control over their own life. Britney Spears once said, "I just want my life back." For years, the world watched her perform, smile, and entertain millions, while her personal freedom was constrained by a system few could understand. Her story is a reminder that fame can mask suffering, and success does not guarantee control over your own life. Yet despite the immense pressure, Britney fought. She reclaimed her voice, her choices, and her dignity. That is her true legacy. Not the headlines, not the albums, not even the iconic music videos, but courage. The courage to speak, the courage to resist, and the courage to finally live on her own terms. Britney Spears' journey teaches us this. Always value freedom, protect your voice, and never underestimate the power of standing up for yourself. Sometimes, reclaiming life is the bravest performance of all.